A child is running to survive from his enemies. He is the main character, Prince Cheon. He hits an obstacle and falls to the ground. Many enemies are already waiting for him, having been there for an hour before he arrived. Prince Cheon is terrified and doesn't have the strength to run away. "I've already given up on enrolling in the academy," he tells them. "What more do you want from me?" They all want to kill him because he has a right to the throne. They insult him, saying, "You have peasant blood mixed in, even though you're in the Lord's bloodline." Prince Cheon gets angry at the insult to his mother. He knows they won't let him die peacefully. He hides a dagger in his clothes, deciding to fight until his last breath. One of the enemies asks if he learned martial arts from his guard warrior. Seeing Prince Cheon holding the dagger, they think he's not a real threat and all rush at him together. Prince Cheon swings his dagger, but they block his attacks, knocking the dagger from his hand and grabbing him by the neck, lifting him into the air. Just as he's about to die, he pulls the hidden dagger and slashes the enemy's neck, killing him. Everyone is shocked. They had underestimated Prince Cheon because he is just a kid and hasn't learned martial arts. His random slashes were meant to lower their guard, and he managed to kill one of them. Now, the enemies take him seriously. One rushes at him, kneeing him to the ground and stabbing him in the leg and stomach. Prince Cheon feels immense pain and can't fight back. He thinks, at least he killed one of them. The enemies toy with him, causing him pain and dragging out his death. Just as they are about to kill him, a light appears from far away, killing one of them instantly. The upper body of the enemy explodes from the light, leaving everyone shocked. A figure appears, wearing clothes from the future. The enemies are stunned by the stranger's attire. They attack, but the stranger uses his light powers to kill them. He moves quickly, killing another enemy. Only one enemy is left, terrified by the stranger's speed and power. He decides to retreat, but the stranger kills him with his light power. The mysterious figure saved Prince Cheon, leaving behind a scene of shocked enemies and a confused, injured prince. The mysterious person from the future approaches Prince Cheon, calling him his ancestor. Even though Prince Cheon is on his deathbed, he feels a spark of happiness. His eyes barely open, struggling to stay conscious, but he can hear the stranger's words, even though he doesn't understand them. The man from the future has no time to spare. He quickly applies a medicine to Prince Cheon's body, telling him, "Live and make sure to succeed." This medicine is Nano Machine, the latest version. Learn how to use it. With that, he disappears. Prince Cheon is left in disbelief, finding it strange. Suddenly, he hears numbers in his head, shocking him. Long ago, the fighters of Jianghu learned martial arts to protect themselves from enemies. Over time, martial arts evolved from simple self-defense techniques into complex forms involving movements and breathing techniques to harness internal energy. These martial artists passed their teachings and heirlooms to future generations, allowing martial arts to continue evolving. Those who mastered martial arts became more powerful than ordinary humans and were known as the Morim people, Walin. Aspiring fighters formed clans, which divided into the forces of justice and the forces of evil. Between these two forces, another group sought only strength and was known as the demonic cult. Prince Cheon Yeo-Woon, an illegitimate child of the highest-ranking family in the demonic cult, has a right to the throne. This is his story. Prince Cheon wakes up, wondering how he is still alive after being severely wounded. He notices his body sweating, black spots on his arms, and a foul smell. His whole body feels sticky. Suddenly, he hears a voice asking, "Are you awake, master?" He is surprised and looks around, but no one is there. The voice tries to calm him. Prince Cheon wonders if the voice is telepathy, as it seems to come from inside his head. The voice confirms that MC is correct. MC shouts, demanding to know what is going on. The voice explains it is a nano machine, a 7th-generation model, but MC doesn't understand. MC, thinking Nano is an evil god, kneels and asks if Nano is truly the evil god. Just then, MC's guard brings a doctor to check on him. The doctor asks if this was an assassination attempt. The guard, angry and defensive, insists he did his best to save MC. The doctor examines MC and declares it a miracle that he is still alive. The guard suspects someone helped MC but doesn't know who. The guard talks to the doctor about the previous night, describing the horrific scene he witnessed. All the assassins were dead. Their bodies spread out and exploded across the cold ground. The upper bodies of the men from the demonic cult were missing. Among the corpses was one man who still had his upper body, but the dagger given to MC, Prince Cheon, was lodged in his throat. The guard recalls hearing someone's breathing not too far away. Through the pools of blood, he saw Prince Cheon. The doctor is surprised that Prince Cheon had no wounds on his body. The guard explains that Prince Cheon's breathing was like he was in a deep sleep, even though his clothes were clearly torn by swords. Prince Cheon's body, however, was clean of any marks. The doctor wonders who could have helped Prince Cheon. He reasons that there is no way the cult leader would have involved himself in such a fight. Confused and puzzled, they continue walking toward Prince Cheon's room. In MC's room, he is confused, thinking Nano is an evil god and wondering who saved him. Nano explains it saved and healed MC using its healing mode. But MC struggles to understand, so Nano sends basic information directly to his brain. Nano clarifies it is not an evil god but simply a nano machine. MC is astonished. Nano then uploads the manual information about itself to MC's brain, causing an electric shock sensation that makes MC vomit. Nano explains this is a natural reaction when receiving new information. Feeling dizzy, MC wonders what is happening. Nano explains there are thousands of nano machines embedded in his body. MC asks what would happen if Nano were removed, and Nano says he would die. MC then asks who put Nano in his body. Suddenly, his guard and the doctor arrive and knock on the door. MC quickly pretends to be sleeping. The guard enters, worried about MC, but notices a foul smell from his body. The doctor checks MC's blood pressure and finds something strange. The guard, concerned, asks what is wrong. The doctor explains that MC's body has been purged of impurities and his energy flow activated. He wonders if MC took special medicine. MC, unsure, listens in surprise as the doctor says his body is now perfect for martial arts training. MC recalls the black spots on his body and realizes Nano healed him, placed the nano machines in his body, and extracted the waste. MC is amazed by what Nano has done. There were many clans and families in the demonic cult, but only 6 of them were the main ones: the Dark Clan, Sword Clan, Spring Clan, Poison Clan, Sound Clan, and Blade Clan. The Lord had made a vow to marry a woman from each of these 6 clans to produce his heirs. Each child born from these marriages was raised within their respective clan. When they reached a certain age, they were sent to the Demonic Academy, which opened every 10 years. This academy, led by top experts, was established to train the best warriors of each generation. During a time of fierce competition, when several princes joined the academy, the magistrates referred to it as the Battle of the Heirs. In Prince Cheon's room, he finally understood what the nano machine inside his body could do. He controlled his facial expressions to hide this knowledge from the doctor, who was watching him closely. The doctor suspected that Prince Cheon had received help from someone, but didn't know who. After examining him, the doctor declared that Prince Cheon's body was fully healed and that he would soon regain his energy. The guard thanked the doctor, who then left the room. However, the doctor couldn't shake the feeling that something was strange about Prince Cheon's sudden transformation. He recalled how, in his childhood, Cheon was weak and lacked any martial arts skills, and it seemed certain that he would be pushed out of the ranks. But now, with his improved body, the doctor thought that Cheon could probably learn martial arts better than any of the other princes. He wondered if Cheon had been pretending not to care about ranking in martial arts because he was an illegitimate child. If the Lord had secretly helped him, there was no need for Cheon to acknowledge it. The upcoming Demonic Academy would surely be full of surprises. Meanwhile, Prince Cheon thought about how he was still alive thanks to Guard Jang. Even though the nano machine healed him, If Jang hadn't arrived in time, things might have turned out very differently. Prince Cheon got up and thanked guard Jang, who told him to take a shower because he smelled bad. After washing up, Prince Cheon asked the Nano machine about its healing abilities. Nano explained that it could quickly heal any internal or external wounds caused by impacts, but blood loss or decapitation would take more time as they required cell division. However, Prince Cheon found Nano's explanation too complex to understand. So, he decided to test it by cutting his hand. As he bled, Nano activated healing mode and quickly healed the wound. Now, Prince Cheon finally understood how Nano could heal his body. After his shower, Prince Cheon noticed that his body had changed and was more muscular. He asked Nano why this happened, and Nano explained that it had reconstructed his body. Later, an old lady came to dress Prince Cheon, and then he went to his study room. Nano urged him to open a book related to martial arts, so he chose one called 3J Sim's Breathing Method. As Prince Cheon flipped through the book, Nano scanned all the pages and transferred the information to his brain. Prince Cheon felt dizzy and lightheaded and even wanted to vomit, but Nano reassured him that he would get used to it. Now, Prince Cheon understood another ability of Nano, instant learning. He was surprised to discover that he could fully grasp the content, not just memorize it. Nano had even corrected errors in the book about blood points. Prince Cheon couldn't believe how amazing Nano was. With its help, he could now learn and master martial arts faster than anyone else. The candidates from the 6 main clans had mastered many fighting techniques from a young age, and even after observing them, Prince Cheon had struggled to learn the basics. But now, with Nano's abilities, he was confident he could become stronger and surpass everyone at the academy. This was his new goal. In the Chamber of the Air candidate, located in the South Castle of the demonic cult, Prince Mukium was furious. He had sent assassins to kill a boy, but all his men were dead. His servant explained that someone had helped that boy, Prince Cheon. Now, Prince Mukium, aware that someone was protecting Prince Cheon and his bodyguard, decided that he would kill Cheon himself at the demonic academy. The next morning, Prince Cheon couldn't sleep at all. His mind was racing, thinking about everything that had happened to him. When he opened the window, he saw guard Jang practicing his dagger martial arts outside. Prince Cheon thought that maybe he could secretly learn from guard Jang, but he felt stuck because he didn't know how to do it. Just then, Nano suggested that it could scan all of guard Jang's movements and transfer them directly to Prince Cheon's mind. Nano also mentioned that it had data on various martial art techniques that it could upload to Prince Cheon's brain. At first, Prince Cheon felt it wasn't right to scan guard Jang's movements without his permission, but he realized he didn't have much time. He had to go to the academy that afternoon, so he needed to learn quickly, no matter what. Prince Cheon agreed, and Nano began scanning guard Jang's movements. The scan took about half an hour, and once it was complete, Nano transferred the information to Prince Cheon's brain. Immediately, he felt dizzy and tired. But then, something incredible happened. Prince Cheon suddenly knew every move of guard Jang's dagger martial arts. He decided to try practicing the techniques that had taken guard Jang 20 years to master. As he started, Nano informed him that it had also completed a muscle analysis for training the movements. If Prince Cheon didn't get this muscle transfer, he would feel a lot of pain. And sure enough, pain shot through Prince Cheon's entire body. Confused, Prince Cheon asked Nano why this was happening. Nano explained that guard Jang had trained for many years, repeating the same moves over and over to reach his current skill level. But Prince Cheon's muscles weren't properly developed for such advanced techniques, so his body was getting damaged. To adjust his muscles, Nano recommended a muscle transfer. Nervously, Prince Cheon agreed. The process was painful, and he passed out on the bed. Meanwhile, guard Jang was in the kitchen, preparing a special meal for Prince Cheon, who was starting at the academy that day. As he cooked, he remembered Lady Hua, Prince Cheon's mother, who had died 5 years ago from poisoned food. Lady Hua had entrusted guard Jang to take care of Prince Cheon, and now, as the prince was about to enter the academy, guard Jang felt a strong sense of responsibility. Suddenly, Garjang felt a strange energy coming from Prince Cheon's room. He rushed in to check on him and found the prince lying on the bed. Garjang checked his pulse, and everything seemed normal, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Then, Garjang noticed footprints on the floor that resembled the steps from his own dagger martial arts. He was shocked and proud at the same time, realizing that Prince Cheon had been watching him train for the past 2 years and had already caught up to his 20 years of practice. When Prince Cheon woke up, he was surprised by the muscle transfer process and vowed never to do it again. But when he picked up the dagger, he no longer felt any pain. Now, his muscles were just like those of someone who had trained for 20 years. Excited, Prince Cheon began testing the movements. He was amazed by how accurate and powerful they were, and the feeling of cutting through the air was incredible. These were just the first set of moves. He then switched to the second set of formations and started with the footwork. Even without using inner energy, his steps were so powerful. Just then, Garjang entered with breakfast. Prince Cheon panicked and quickly covered the footprints with the table. When Garjang suggested eating by the window as usual, Prince Cheon insisted on eating in the center of the room, trying to hide the footprints. As he ate, Prince Cheon noticed how delicious the food was and realized how much Garjang cared for him. He ate everything, leaving nothing behind, which made Garjang happy to see. After breakfast, Garjang asked when Prince Cheon had learned his dagger technique, but the prince pretended not to understand. Garjang then moved the table, revealing the footprints. Prince Cheon felt ashamed for copying the technique, but Garjang was proud of him. He reassured Prince Cheon that it was okay to learn martial arts from him and that he had always wanted to teach the prince, if not for the oath of the 6 clans. Hearing these words, Prince Cheon's mood lifted. Garjang then gave him his dagger techniques and inner energy techniques. Prince Cheon was surprised and wondered why Garjang was giving them to him. Garjang explained that although the academy would have many things better than what he could offer, he still wanted to pass on his 20 years of martial arts notes to Prince Cheon. Tears welled up in Prince Cheon's eyes as he remembered his childhood, especially when he cried after his mother died and promised Garjang he would never cry again. Garjang told Prince Cheon that he wouldn't be able to stay with him once he was admitted to the academy, so it was okay to cry today. But from now on, Prince Cheon must become stronger. Prince Cheon promised Garjang that he would become stronger, no matter what. At the Demonic Academy, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation as participants from various clans, both major and minor, gathered for the initiation ceremony. The crowd was abuzz with chatter, the voices of the audience mingling with the excited murmurs of the Academy's attendees. This competition among the heirs was the talk of the gathering, with each participant eager to prove their worth. Suddenly, a figure with long, fiery red hair emerged from the shadows, silencing the crowd with a powerful shout. This was the Left Guardian, known as the Fire King, a warrior whose strength and reputation placed him in the top 5 of the cult's hierarchy. His presence alone was enough to command respect, and the crowd quickly quieted down, their attention focused on him. As the Left Guardian scanned the front row, his eyes fell on the heirs of the 6 main clans, each one a formidable presence in their own right. First was Mu Yun from the Dark Clan, followed by Cheon Yeo-Woon of the Sword Clan, Mu Kyum of the Spring Clan, Jong Sum from the Poison Clan, Yu Chan of the Blade Clan, and finally, Won Ryan of the Sound Clan, the only female candidate this time. However, one name was conspicuously absent, Prince Cheon. Back at the Academy's front counter, Prince Cheon's name tag was nowhere to be found. The Academy staff, flustered, informed the prince that they couldn't find his tag and asked him to wait. Prince Cheon instantly recognized this as a trick by the 6 clans, who were determined to keep him away from their ranks. Undeterred, he knew it was best to avoid direct conflict with them for now. After all, these were the same clans that had tried to kill him countless times in the past. Standing in the last row, Prince Cheon was subjected to whispered insults from those around him. Rumors spread like wildfire that the prince hadn't learned any martial arts and that he was unworthy of his position. But Prince Cheon heard every word, his resolve only growing stronger. The left guardian's gaze eventually fell on the prince, recognizing him as the Lord's illegitimate child. Though others looked down on Prince Cheon, the left guardian was curious about the young man's potential. As the ceremony began, the lord of the demonic cult, Cheon Yeo-Woon, arrived with the elders. The crowd fell into a hushed awe, their eyes widening at the sight of the powerful figure. The left guardian and the right guardian bickered briefly over their attire. Right guardian's choice of clothes was far too casual for the solemn occasion, but a sharp glance from the lead guardian silenced them. Cheon Yeo-Woon, the lord of the demonic cult and one of the top 5 strongest in the Murim, addressed the candidates. His mere presence was overwhelming, and Prince Cheon felt a heavy pressure as he realized this man, his father, was speaking. The Lord's voice, though calm and composed, carried a weight that made the candidates tremble. He spoke of the importance of the candidates, how they were the future of the cult, and how this academy would shape them into powerful warriors. His words were clear, resonating deeply in Prince Cheon's mind. As the Lord's eyes scanned the crowd, they paused momentarily on Prince Cheon, his illegitimate child. Prince Cheon felt the coldness in his father's gaze, a stark reminder of the man who had never acknowledged him after his mother's death. But Prince Cheon wasn't surprised. He had learned long ago not to expect anything from his father. After the Lord departed, the left guardian took charge, announcing the first exam. The candidates, still murmuring among themselves, were quickly silenced by the left guardian's powerful inner energy. He explained that the academy would last 4 years, divided into 6 stages, each culminating in a test. The catch? Each candidate had only one chance to pass. Failure meant instant expulsion. A wave of fear and confusion swept through the candidates. The stakes were higher than they had imagined. One of the heirs from the main clans dared to raise his hand to ask a question, but the left guardian cut him off with a shout, forbidding any questions. The candidate's face flushed with anger, but the left guardian remained unmoved, emphasizing that in the demonic academy, all candidates were equal, regardless of their clan. The left guardian's message was clear. Obedience was paramount. Those who didn't listen would face immediate expulsion. The academy was a place where strength and discipline ruled, and the heirs of the 6 main clans were no exception to these rules. As the left guardian's words echoed in the hall, a heavy silence settled over the candidates, each of them realizing the true gravity of the challenge ahead. As the left guardian finished his stern warning, the candidates from the 6 main clans began to laugh mockingly at the embarrassed student who had tried to ask a question. The boy, clearly humiliated, quickly apologized to the left guardian. However, the left guardian, understanding the importance of the question, decided to address the issue directly. He explained that while it may seem unfair to have only one chance to pass each of the 6 stages, the academy had designed special benefits to reward those who succeeded. The first benefit, he announced, was the coveted Black Dragon Ball. A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd as the candidates speculated about the mysterious item. Prince Cheon, unfamiliar with the term, overheard a nearby candidate explaining that the Black Dragon Ball was a legendary medicine ball that could grant the consumer 20 years' worth of inner energy. The revelation sparked intense calculations among the candidates. If someone could pass all 6 stages, they could potentially acquire 6 Black Dragon Balls, resulting in a staggering 120 years of inner energy. Prince Cheon, who currently had no inner energy, found the prospect particularly enticing. This could be the opportunity he needed to gain the power to survive and thrive in the academy. The left guardian continued, revealing the second benefit. Successful candidates would be granted access to the Demonic Academy's library, a treasure trove of martial arts knowledge. With each stage they passed, they would unlock a new floor of the library, gaining the chance to study the secrets of the 6 main clans and even ancient martial arts manuals. This news further motivated the candidates, who now envisioned themselves mastering techniques that could elevate them to greatness. Prince Cheon realized that in order to survive and compete with the other candidates, he would need to develop inner energy and take full advantage of these opportunities. His resolve hardened as he listened to the left guardian's speech. The Left Guardian then outlined the third and final benefit. As candidates passed through the stages, they would be assigned ranks based on their progress. Passing the first stage would earn them the rank of low-ranked warrior. The second stage would elevate them to middle-ranked warrior, and so on, with the highest attainable rank being clan leader after the fifth stage. However, the Left Guardian ominously skipped over the details of the sixth stage, hinting that it was so difficult that only a handful of candidates had ever passed it in the Academy's long history. Turning his attention to the heirs of the 6 main clans, the Left Guardian issued a challenge. For members of such prestigious families, it would be a disgrace to fail and be ranked as mere low-ranked warriors. The Right Guardian, sipping his drink with a hint of annoyance, nodded in agreement. He, too, believed that the sixth stage was nearly impossible to pass, a feat that fewer than 10 people had accomplished over the centuries. Finally, the Left Guardian declared that while all candidates began with the same cadet rank, their ranks would soon diverge based on their performance. At the Academy, ranks were a true measure of power and skill, and those who reached the upper levels would be acknowledged across the cult. Prince Cheon, fully aware of the stakes, vowed to rise through the ranks. He knew that to survive and fulfill his ambitions, he would need to outpace everyone else. As the Left Guardian concluded his speech, he announced that the first stage of testing would begin immediately. The candidates were shocked. No one had expected the trials to start on the very first day. The Left Guardian's voice cut through their surprise as he warned them once again. Failure in this test meant immediate expulsion from the Academy. Failing here would mean they didn't even deserve to be called low-ranked warriors. The atmosphere grew tense as the candidates braced themselves for the challenge ahead. Prince Cheon, standing at the back of the line, clenched his fists, ready to face whatever came next. This was the beginning of a journey that would test his strength, resolve, and determination to survive in the brutal world of the demonic academy. As the Left Guardian shouted the harsh reality of the first test, Prince Cheon's heart sank. The challenge was to test the candidates' basic skills, specifically their inner energy, a fundamental requirement to survive in the demonic academy. Without it, they couldn't even be considered warriors. The Left Guardian's brutal declaration, "Go to die if you don't have basic inner energy," echoed in Prince Cheon's ears. For Prince Cheon, who had never developed inner energy, the situation was dire. He knew that failing this test would doom him to a life as a member of the lowest clan in the cult, a position so low that anyone could kill him without consequence. Rage and fear boiled inside him. He had endured countless assassination attempts from the 6 main clans, and now, at the very start of his journey, he was faced with a challenge that seemed impossible to overcome. Meanwhile, Prince Mukum from the Spring clan couldn't hide his smug satisfaction. He had always harbored ill will towards Prince Cheon, but now, he wouldn't need to lift a finger to eliminate him. Prince Cheon's lack of inner energy would see him expelled after the first test, an outcome that Mukum eagerly anticipated. As the tension mounted, an elder from the Sound clan arrived at the academy. The Left Guardian introduced her to the candidates as the overseer of the first test stage. The candidates immediately began closing their ears, a sight that baffled Prince Cheon. Left Guardian explained that the 5th elder from the Sound clan would test them by emitting a powerful sound energy wave, and all candidates would have to endure it. Prince Cheon's heart raced. He had no inner energy, and without it, he knew he wouldn't be able to withstand the sound energy wave. The test began as the 5th elder started to play her musical instrument, and immediately, a crushing pressure filled the air. The candidates, especially those from smaller clans, struggled to resist, their faces contorted in pain as they barely held on with the inner energy they had cultivated. As the sound energy wave grew stronger, the candidates from the 6 main clans and high-ranked families began to feel its intensity. Even they, who had been fortified with special medicines and training since childhood, started to experience the pain and difficulty of enduring the sound wave. The 5th elder's fingers moved faster across her instrument, intensifying the energy. Some of the candidates' faces twisted in agony as the wave pounded against their defenses. But what puzzled the fifth elder the most was Prince Cheon. Despite having no known inner energy, he hadn't collapsed. In fact, he appeared almost unaffected, standing calmly amidst the fallen candidates around him. She narrowed her eyes, increasing the intensity of her sound wave, but to no avail. Prince Cheon remained steady. Inside Prince Cheon's mind, confusion reigned. He saw others around him crumbling under the pressure, their faces pale and strained, yet he felt nothing. No pain, no sound, no pressure. It was as if he were in a bubble of silence. Then, a voice inside him, Nano, explained the situation. Nano had detected the harmful sound waves and had automatically shut down Prince Cheon's auditory system to protect him from internal injuries. Understanding dawned on Prince Cheon. Nano had effectively rendered him immune to the Fifth Elder's soundwave attack. The Fifth Elder, growing more and more frustrated, increased her energy output to its maximum. Her gaze locked onto Prince Cheon with anger and disbelief. From the Left Guardian's perspective, the situation was baffling. The Fifth Elder's soundwave should have been too much for anyone with less than 20 years of cultivated inner energy. Yet, Prince Cheon stood there, unflinching, his expression calm. The Left Guardian, having heard rumors that Prince Cheon had no inner energy, began to doubt those reports. How else could this seemingly powerless prince endure such a formidable attack with such stability? The atmosphere in the academy grew tense. The Left Guardian watched closely, trying to decipher the mystery of Prince Cheon, while the Fifth Elder, consumed by frustration, continued her futile efforts. Meanwhile, Prince Cheon, now fully aware of Nano's protection, stood resolute, silently vowing to use this opportunity to survive and surpass those who sought to destroy him. The Left Guardian was captivated by the unfolding drama of the first test. It was the most exhilarating challenge he had witnessed since he took on his role at the Academy. The sheer intensity of the Fifth Elder's sound energy wave had taken a toll on nearly all the candidates. Blood seeped from their ears as they struggled to endure the force. Even those with 20 years of inner energy found it nearly impossible to withstand the onslaught. Prince Mukum, who had initially felt confident, began to grow concerned as he noticed the Fifth Elder's expression of anger and frustration. Curious, he turned to see what was causing her agitation and was shocked to find Prince Cheon standing firm, seemingly unaffected by the devastating sound waves. He was not just holding on, he was completely fine. The other candidates, too, began to notice this anomaly and were astonished. How could someone without any inner energy endure such a trial so effortlessly? Prince Mukum's disbelief quickly turned to anger. He couldn't fathom that Prince Cheon might have hidden his true strength all this time. But Prince Cheon, observing their expressions of fury and confusion, was bewildered. He guessed that their pride was wounded, having assumed he had no inner energy, yet here he was, enduring the test with apparent ease. Realizing the potential consequences, Prince Cheon decided he needed to create a facade. He asked Nano to induce an internal injury, knowing that without it, no one would believe he had no inner energy. Nano, however, warned against this, concerned for Prince Cheon's well-being. But Prince Cheon was resolute. After the test, he ordered Nano to simulate an internal injury and cause him to vomit blood. The Fifth Elder, enraged by the sight of Prince Cheon's calm composure, couldn't bear it any longer. The fact that this young prince, barely 15 years old, was enduring her power with such ease was unbearable. Her pride wounded, she poured even more energy into her performance. The Left Guardian, sensing the danger, noticed the candidates from the 6 main clans beginning to bleed from their bodies under the increased pressure. He realized that the Fifth Elder's power level had become too dangerous and swiftly intervened, stopping her before anyone was seriously harmed. As the Fifth Elder regained her senses, she halted her performance, allowing the candidates to relax. The test was finally over. The Right Guardian, watching from the sidelines, thought that if she had used even a little more power, everyone would have failed. He couldn't believe that the Fifth Elder had lost control so easily. The Fifth Elder, now feeling a mix of confusion and anger, couldn't understand why she had let her emotions get the better of her, especially against Prince Cheon. She had used nearly half of her power in her rage against the illegitimate son of the leader, yet he had survived. Suddenly, Prince Cheon began to vomit blood, his body racked with simulated internal injuries from Nano's intervention. The sight of him coughing up so much blood shocked everyone, including the left guardian and the fifth elder. Prince Mukum, who had been convinced that Prince Cheon had hidden inner energy, was now utterly confused. Why was Prince Cheon vomiting blood if he had such strength? Realizing the situation was getting out of hand, Prince Cheon urgently commanded Nano to stop the bleeding, fearing for his life. The left guardian rushed to his side, knowing that if Prince Cheon died from the first test, the repercussions would be severe, as he was still of the leader's bloodline, despite not being from one of the 6 main clans. The left guardian quickly assessed Prince Cheon's condition by testing his blood pressure and energy flow. To his utter shock, he discovered that Prince Cheon had no inner energy at all. The fact that Prince Cheon had passed the first test purely through mental strength and sheer willpower was unbelievable. He immediately ordered his staff to take Prince Cheon to the infirmary, recognizing the gravity of the situation. As Prince Cheon was carried away, he quietly instructed Nano to heal him as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the left guardian scolded the fifth elder, warning her that she had nearly killed Prince Cheon with her excessive power. He explained that Prince Cheon had no inner energy, as confirmed by his own examination, leaving the fifth elder stunned. She couldn't comprehend how someone could endure her power with nothing but mental fortitude. The left guardian, now filled with the newfound respect for Prince Cheon, contemplated what could have been if the prince were not an illegitimate child. He mused that he might have taken Prince Cheon as his student, recognizing the boy's extraordinary potential. However, he knew that opposing the 6 main clans would bring nothing but trouble. The right guardian, having watched the entire spectacle, took another swig of alcohol, initially amused but now intrigued by Prince Cheon's resilience. The 2 guardians began to argue, releasing bursts of inner energy that sent waves of pressure through the remaining candidates. The intensity of their exchange made it clear how powerful they were, causing the candidates to cower in fear. Eventually, the right guardian decided to leave, heading to the infirmary to meet with Prince Cheon. At the demonic infirmary, demonic Dr. Beck was eagerly awaiting his next patient. Known for his love of treating challenging cases, he was excited when he heard that a new patient was being brought in. His enthusiasm only grew when he learned that the patient was none other than Prince Cheon, whose survival of the first test had already become the talk of the academy. Dr. Beck, excited to treat his first patient on his first day at the academy's infirmary, warmly welcomed the guards who had brought in the injured Prince Cheon. The guards, however, found Dr. Beck's overly enthusiastic demeanor a bit unsettling. They had heard he was a student of the renowned physician Baek Jong-woo, but something about his obsession with medical practice seemed borderline eccentric. As Dr. Beck examined Prince Cheon's injuries, he couldn't help but wonder how a mere test could inflict such severe internal damage. When he asked the guards about the nature of the injuries, they explained that Prince Cheon had no inner energy, making his internal organs particularly vulnerable. This revelation surprised Dr. Beck, who had only heard about such injuries from his teacher, but had never encountered them firsthand. The extent of Prince Cheon's injuries left him momentarily speechless. As the guards prepared to leave, one of them noticed a slight change in Prince Cheon's condition but couldn't be sure of it, so they dismissed it and left the infirmary. Dr. Beck began testing Prince Cheon's blood flow and pulse. Despite nearly forgetting about his surroundings, Prince Cheon's body had almost fully healed his internal injuries with Nano's help, though the pain was still significant. He knew he had to endure until the doctor was finished. Dr. Beck felt the irregular and rapid pulse, noting that Prince Cheon must have suffered severe damage. But something didn't add up. There was an unusual amount of blood, considering the circumstances. Just as Dr. Beck was deep in thought, the right guardian suddenly burst into the room, startling him. Confused, Dr. Beck asked why the right guardian was there, given that he had no injuries. This question only served to anger the Right Guardian, and Prince Cheon, sensing the tension, grew anxious, wondering if the Right Guardian had figured out that he was pretending to have internal injuries. The Right Guardian, already aware that Prince Cheon was faking sleep, used his inner energy to force Prince Cheon to get up, but Prince Cheon continued to pretend. Dr. Beck was astonished to see the Right Guardian lift someone without even touching them. However, Prince Cheon found himself unable to move, his body still not fully recovered. The Right Guardian, growing impatient, warned Prince Cheon that if he continued to feign sleep, he would strike him in the face. Realizing he had no choice, Prince Cheon opened his eyes and asked how the Right Guardian had known he was pretending. The Right Guardian laughed heartily, explaining that as an experienced warrior, he could tell just by listening to the sound of Prince Cheon's breathing. This revelation surprised Prince Cheon, who hadn't considered that his breathing could give him away. Nano then chimed in, explaining to Prince Cheon the difference between average breathing patterns and those of a patient, reinforcing the Right Guardian's expertise. The Right Guardian remarked that today's youth lacked endurance and often sought the easy way out. He pointed out that Prince Cheon, too, had not endured the test purely through willpower but with Nano's help. Dr. Beck tried to intervene, stating that Prince Cheon's condition was critical and that he needed rest. But the Right Guardian, dismissive of the doctor's concerns, continued speaking to Prince Cheon. Suddenly, Prince Cheon vomited blood again, prompting the Right Guardian to quickly treat him using his inner energy. After stabilizing him, the Right Guardian made an unexpected offer. He wanted Prince Cheon to become his student. This shocked everyone in the room, including Prince Cheon. Prince Cheon hesitated, pointing out that the Big Six clans were determined to kill him and that becoming the Right Guardian's student could put him in danger as well. But the Right Guardian dismissed these concerns, stating that the clans would compete with or without Prince Cheon, and he wasn't afraid of the challenge. This offer presented a great opportunity for Prince Cheon, but he couldn't help but be cautious. Given that everyone seemed to want him dead, he found it difficult to trust anyone. Meanwhile, Dr. Beck finally realized that his patient was none other than the infamous Seventh Prince, whose reputation preceded him. Prince Cheon openly expressed his distrust, saying that he couldn't rely on anyone because of the constant threats against his life. The Right Guardian, sensing the difficulty of gaining the prince's trust, handed him a paper. Prince Cheon, puzzled, wondered what the document contained. The Right Guardian explained that if Prince Cheon fell behind at the academy, he would be expelled.